This is Laura DeFranco, holistic physical therapist and owner of Brave Healer Productions. I'm excited to bring you my new holistic healing series where you're going to learn from the experts what it means to live fiercely alive, mind, body, and soul. I invite you now to take a breath, relax, and feel the vibe of the words my guest has to share with you today. Welcome, everyone. Today on the Brave Healing Podcast, I have the distinct pleasure to bring you three of the amazing authors of the upcoming book, The Wellness Universe Guide to Complete Self-Care, 25 Tools for Stress Relief. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking everyone could use some stress relief right now. So Debbra Lupien, Linda Gillen, and Melissa Jurovec, thank you for being here. You guys are going to help me with this mission I have at Brave Healer Productions to change the world one brave word at a time. Good morning, amazing ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, Debbra, I would love to start with you. Talk to me a little bit about this chapter that you wrote. And actually, before you do that, I did this last time too. I want to read to you guys these amazing authors' bios. So before Debbra answers that question, Debbra Lupien is a spiritual teacher, international #1 best-selling author, and voice of the Akashic Records. Her book, Akasha Unleashed, The Missing Manual to You, has become a catalyst for personal transformations, inspiring a global audience to seek Debbra out for guidance on their purpose and life journey. I also have with me today Linda Gillen. She is an international mental health advocate, mentor, and author, speaking from lived experience. Born in the UK, Linda lives in Australia and is the owner of Heart of Linda, Mud to Stars project for mental health, providing peer support to family and friends of people with mental illness. And Melissa Jurovec is a mindset strategist, author, and founder of Prosperity Unleashed. She is passionate about helping others disrupt their thought patterns so they can wake up from the mental inertia that keeps them from being, doing, and having the things they want. Whew, you guys are amazing. Thank you for being here. All right, Debbra, back to you. Talk to us a little bit about coexisting with ego.
Yeah, so we're talking about stress here, right? We all have enough stressors from the outside, let alone the ones that come from the inside when we're constantly in battle with our ego. And I don't know where the idea came from. The ego is our enemy anyway. But one day my guide said to me, you really need to make peace with your ego. It's not your enemy, which inspired me to go through this process that I wrote about in the chapter where we had a powwow and we made friends. Life has been so different since then because now we work together as a team rather than constantly pulling against each other, which has, of course, lessened my stress incredibly.
Well, so talk to me about how we know, like, how do you even start the journey of understanding that dialogue?
That little nagging voice that kind of sits on your shoulder and puts you down and criticizes you, holds you back. Because soul says, let's soar, baby. We've got important, fun things to do. Where ego says, oh no, I'm afraid we'll get hurt. Someone will step on our toes. It'll be scary. So we're in that constant push-pull kind of relationship, tug of war. And then higher self gets caught in the middle going, oh my God, would you guys get it together already? So this is about bringing harmony between the three aspects of ourselves.
I mean, you put it in really simple terms when you say it's that nagging voice, right? It's the voice that's limiting. And I want to help the viewers really trust that. I mean, is it as simple as understanding the difference between that inner critic message and more of a feeling of joy?
Well, the inner critic robs you of your joy and robs you of your ability to expand into more of what your soul desires to be. So let's say you're going for an interview and that little voice is nagging you and telling you, oh, you're not going to be good enough, you're not going to measure up, there's all these other people that are so much better than you are. What is that going to do to your confidence when you go into the interview? Where if you make friends with ego, and ego's on board with what soul wants to do, and that's what we're trying to achieve, then you're going in as a team saying, yay, rah, we know Creator says we're perfect, we're magnificent, we're resplendent, we are exactly who and what we're supposed to be, and let's go bring it. Let's bring it all to the table.
I love the way that you talk about this, and you have helped me so much to just validate some of the feelings that I've had and the thoughts that I've had inside, and really to understand, you guys, when you understand why you're here on the planet and what you're here to do, it's such a massive game changer. And so I'm just giving Deborah a shout out for helping me, being one of those people that have done that for me in my life. It's been amazing. Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome.
And thanks to all of you for just saying yes to this particular book project, for stepping up to the challenge. You all are master teachers, and you can do that teaching thing all day long, and you're really, really good at it. But to say yes to the challenge of actually writing it in words in a way that the reader would understand and have this practical tool, I want everyone to know what a massive gift they're getting in your authentic storytelling and also your tool teaching. So thank you. Linda, let's go to you for a moment and talk to us about mindful nutrition. This chapter it's so important, and I have to just preface it by saying that this particular week that you guys are catching me for the podcast is a week I decided to sign up for a fall detox, a nutrition program. And in 3 days, I have reclaimed an amount of energy that I didn't even know I was missing. So that's all I'm going to say about that. It's been really, really fantastic so far. So Linda, talk to us about mindful nutrition.
Yes, yeah, wonderful. Well, of course, that's the body. And if we could do the same for our mind with our positive thoughts, how amazing we'd be, as an entire being. Nutrition truly affects our mental health. I found this in my recovery journey when, after being in hospital and very sick with my mental health, I started noticing that I was having cravings and going for certain foods. And I just started kind of noticing this and noting it down in the first place. And there were certain things that were most definitely lifting my thoughts, and I was feeling much more, more positive. And when I started looking at this as it went on, it was very evident to me that certain foods were definitely doing that. And of course, when I was eating some things, they were really not helping at all. And so for me, this was a journey across 2 years where I monitored specifically what I ate, how I felt afterwards, and juggled around with it. And truly, I feel that the food we eat is fuel for how we feel. And that's really my mantra. Yes, I sometimes eat things because I fancy them and I know my body won't like it, my mind won't like it. But, in the whole, to just stay on track of maintaining a healthy, mindful diet. And emerging research has been showing a distinct relationship between the gut and the brain. And it's very, very evident that what we're putting in is having an effect on our on what's going on for our mind and our mood. So I feel very strongly on that for myself. Would really kind of just ask people to look at it, play with it. I know if I really eat processed foods, for a length of time, I can feel the difference. I feel so heavy and wrong and muddly and fuddly and out of focus. It's like you're back on track, and a good balanced diet with plenty of fresh fruit and veggies. And it's not just about that. It's about plenty of water, hydration, but the whole balance is, if you're panning this out and watching yourself, you would notice when you feel going down and when you feel going up. And if you've actually got a record of, I ate that then, and then I felt like that. And I ate that then, and I felt like that. But then I ate this, and I felt like that. And okay, so there's a correlation. And I can only say to people, don't take my word for it, explore it. Because it's, it's a very personal thing, and each of us need different nutritional things as well. So, yeah.
Thank you, Linda. People are stressed out right now. We had our stresses of life before COVID happened, and then we got dumped on with extraordinary amounts more. And I know, listen, I'm guilty. If I could order a pizza and make my evening a little bit less, time consuming with the dinner. But what I realized is that if that becomes a habit, you said the word for me, actually, it was heavy. I started to feel literally bogged down and heavier, and definitely, y'all have heard of the term, the COVID weight, right? So I got some extra pounds from COVID. But when you're in that, sometimes you don't realize you're in that until your body is screaming. Are there any tips you can give people that would be signs before your body screams that they could also listen to?
I think when we said heavy, it's not just about heavy in your body, it's heavy mentally. And I think that I would say I notice the mental heaviness sooner than the physical heaviness. So yes, if I've been, as you say, maybe I've been, having pizza, I've had takeaway, I've done this, I've done that, and I'm feeling this cloudy, heavy-headedness before I feel it in my body. And that tells me, well, what have you been doing? What's actually happening here, and why might that be? So it can be instant, of course. Sometimes we can eat something and instantly, physically or mentally, just plummet. It's not always so instant. It can kind of come on, and I think it's about practicing, learning, becoming aware, and knowing the certain foods that are your benefits and the ones that are not so helpful. And when you feel yourself, hello, I think I've been doing something a bit wrong here, well then maybe I ought to look at my little list of the things that I know lift me if I'm feeling that way. And for me, that is certainly sometimes Brazil nuts are excellent for me, and bananas. I'd go anywhere packed with a banana because it's just one of the things that does it for me. But that might not be for you. There may be something different. It's a very personal thing. And I'm saying play with this, find yours, and what's right for you might not be right for me.
Thank you, Linda. Melissa, I'm going to go to you now, and we're going to change gears and talk about something that I think it can be such a relief when you're feeling stressed, and that's effective decision making. Talk to us about your chapter 7.
So as soon as I saw the topic of the book, decision making came to my head instantly. And I think it's because most people avoid decision making at all costs. Indecision is one of the leading causes of stress. And it's because people don't know how to move forward. They know that they want things. They know that they want things to be different. They want to feel different. They want to have more, do more, be more. They want their circumstances to change. But the wishing and the hoping isn't what changes your results. You have to make decisions that things are going to be different. And so as soon as you decide that you want things to change and you start taking the action to change them, that's when things change. And I think that is something that is just so misunderstood because people don't have the foundation. So who do I want to be and where do I want to go? And then you make decisions. But if you don't know who you want to be and where you want to go, it's so difficult to figure out, how do I move forward?
Okay, so I'm going to challenge you by saying, how do I know who I want to be then? Like, you know, we all come, we all have had clients who have said that. They answer those questions with, I don't know. And they say, and you can hear the frustration and the stress. Seriously, like, I know for myself, I followed a lot of rules for a long time into my adulthood before I realized that I had checked off every box everyone had told me to check off that should have made me feel happy, but I was sitting there feeling very unhappy and I couldn't figure out why. I had followed all the rules. I was a good girl, you know, straight A's, perfectionist, good girl, like did everything I was told. And I realized I had to connect in with what made me feel good. So Melissa, when you come up, you know, with somebody who hasn't even had the time to understand who they want to be or what they want, how do you direct them there?
Well, and I think you really touched upon it when you said you were thinking about like how you want to feel. And you know, that's really the most magical thing, is that you get to choose who you want to be. So a lot of people think that it has to be this realization that, oh my God, this is what I'm going to do with my life, and these are the people I'm going to talk to, and this is the experiences I'm going to have, when it's really about how you want to feel and what you like. So what gets you emotionally emotionally involved? The way for us to create and produce our best work and have the best results is if it's something that gets us emotionally reactive. So that's what you want to be doing. So really, it's just paying attention to what gets you emotionally engaged. So a lot of people go through their jobs, for example, and everything is on automation, and you're just doing the same tasks, and you know, you're looking at the clock and you're thinking about your next vacation, and it's the same thing every day, and then you're exhausted at the end of the day because you're not getting any kind of mind engagement and you're not enjoying what you're doing. You're not getting emotionally involved with what you're doing. And so who you want to be is really about how you want to feel. So if you feel self-conscious, well, then you want to feel confident. That's how it's going to make you feel good, right? That's the opposite. If you feel very stressed, you want to be a person who has peace of mind, a person who experiences serenity. That's who you want to be. So it's really how you want to feel and what gets you engaged with the world. And that's kind of your life map.
Yes, with an exclamation point. And I like, you know, it's really for me, my words are, it's what turns you on. And sometimes you do wake up and realize you haven't really had time to explore what turns you on. And so that's what I would offer to people, is just give yourself some time to journal, some time to meditate, some time to slow down from everything and really tune in. You know, the M word scares people because they think that they need to sit on a pillow for an hour and chant and do all the things. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Those things I do, all of those things, but really it's just a couple of deep breaths and slowing down long enough to clear your mind and come in, you know, to yourself. And you can be doing that basically anywhere. So I'm going to stick with you, Melissa, for this next question, and we'll go around, but talk to us about why integration is so important. We know the mind, body, soul connection is important, but talk to us about your version of why should people be interested in this?
Sure. So for me, I'm always thinking about how a person can develop their ultimate level of wellness, because that's how you function most efficiently and that's how you thrive. And that's kind of, from a mindset perspective, those are always the two goals. How can you be more efficient? but how can you have peace of mind and clarity? So for mind, body, and soul, really the first thing is developing awareness that you have needs in every area, and you can't function efficiently if you're not taking care of those needs. So if you had a dog and the dog needed to be fed, needed to be walked, and needed to do his business, and you're just feeding the dog, but every morning you're waking up to a chaotic household where there's this hyper dog who's breaking things and doing his business all over the house, and you're waking up in every morning going, why does these bad things always happen to me, and why is life always chaos, and why is it always me? You're not really being accountable for the fact that there are needs that you're not meeting, and that's what's resulting in the chaos and the problems and the negative emotions and all that. If you're not taking care of all the needs, things don't run smoothly, and things are not going to go well, no matter how much you wish and hope for it. So you have to be taking care of the needs mentally, physically, and spiritually. Regardless of what you believe in the spiritual regard, you've got needs there. So it's really about taking care of all of your needs so you can be well, so that you can truly live life and feel the way you want to feel.
I'm resonating with the dog story very much there. You got to take care of business in all of the ways we need to take care of the business. Linda, talk to me about integration and how that's been important in your world.
Yeah, I love the dog too. And exactly, for me, wellness, it's our entire being. Exactly. You can't separate this. It's a complete package. If you try to just look at one, this will fall apart. You look at your mental, your physical and your emotional and spiritual. It has to, doesn't it? I mean, it's the package. We are whole. And if we give equal respect to every aspect of our mind, body, and soul, then they work together beautifully, and there's harmony, and that's a flow. If we're looking at just one, the flow will stop, and yeah, you get the mess. it stops. It's about flowing with them all and letting them all have an equal space and equal respect. That will function really well. Truly feels that way.
Yeah, we had a conversation in another interview about the balance, and I think balance is tough. It's tough for people to balance unless they're just maybe naturally integrating. And honestly, I think that every time we talk about this, we're talking about awareness at its simplest form. We're just talking about being awake and aware inside of our lives in all of the different ways, in our mind, in our body, and in the way that we feel the world, Thank you, Linda. How about you, Deborah? Talk to us about integration in your world.
Well, what I love about this conversation is we're all essentially saying the same thing. The mind-body integration is the core. It's the universal truth that we're striving for. So when we get to that place where the three are aspects working together rather than pulling against each other, then there's more peace and harmony, which then translates to how we be in the world. So when we come to the world from that more centered, peaceful, confident space, others will react to us differently. So that harmony is just crucial in spreading this message of love and light to the world, which we so desperately need right now. So let's get it right with ourselves and then project it out, because others will react when we put out that positive vibe. So it's massive.
It is. And you're talking about something so important, and taking responsibility of that for ourselves first. When we realize that changes our own vibration, which is changing the energy we walk into a room with, and whoever's in that room, right? So I like thinking about this, and especially because I have a couple of kiddos hanging out with me, and I question it for myself often, because I don't want to bring my, my negativity into the world any more than, everyone's already experiencing. It's just a really good thing to think about, taking responsibility of that for yourself. Anything else you wanted to say about that?
I think that's just at the core of it. And don't beat yourself up about it. It's just finding that feel good space, and just each day take one more step towards feeling good. And then what you project into the world will be more positive. It's a journey.
Yes. And what a perfect way to transition to the next question. Linda, I'm going to go to you for this one. So speaking of that journey, what's one important thing you want the viewers to understand about this big journey as a whole? I know it's a big question. I love the big questions. What's coming to you about that?
This healing journey that we're on, which is ours personally, ours planetary, ours universally, ultimately we're accountable really only to ourselves for our own self-care and well-being. We're really responsible for our very own postage stamp that we are standing on in. And if we take that on and really truly make ourselves accountable for our own self-care and well-being, the energy that we are then living is building and healing in this healing journey that we're on in a very, very much deeper way.
So tell me what you would tell a busy, overwhelmed, stressed out of her mind mom right now about that. Like this is so hard for parents to take on, well, what about my kids? I have to take care of them first. I can't put myself first. I've heard all of it, right? Even, we're joking about the dogs, but even that, like if you have other living beings in your presence and you're taking care of animals and taking care of, it's like, okay, well, they depend on me. So what do you say in that respect?
I would, if it's possible, I would bring it together rather than separate it and say, I need time for me. Say, I'm just going to do this right now. You're welcome to join me or watch me. But, I'm going to just do this for a minute. And without making anything big woo-woo and anything whatsoever, if that's just lying on the ground with your feet up the wall, because it's actually really good for you to do that, it actually really helps clear things out. I'm just going to say to you that my mum used to do this years ago, and before I knew anything about all of this stuff really, and my mum used to lie down and put her feet up the wall. And I've got a photo of my daughter when she's about 6, where mum had just done it, and daughter went and lay down next to her, put her feet up the wall, and it just became something that every now and then they'd just do it, and there was no explaining, I do this because it makes me feel good or whatever. It's just, I'm just going to do this right now. And also with the meditation, I mean, meditation is not only about the quietness. There's active meditation, and if there's something for yourself that really does it for you, I would say if it's putting that song on and just really going with that song right now, the kids will just watch. They'll just see you do it, and they'll think, oh, mum's having fun. And that brings the energy into a calmer space. So yes. I think with kids, it's not always about explaining everything. They learn so much by watching and from how we change when we do certain things. So if you really do something that's good for you right now, without saying, oh my God, I need a break, you just go and do it. They'll just watch you. They'll see the lovely change that comes over you, and something beautiful has happened without anything being spoken.
I love that, Linda. Oh my goodness, yes. And I also love the idea that it doesn't have to be a huge time commitment either. No, it could be listening to a song for 3 minutes,
Really,
yeah.
Truly. Yeah.
Fantastic. So Melissa, talk to me about one important thing you want the viewers to know about this healing journey as a whole.
I think Linda touched upon it really well, that piece about accountability. And I think it's important for people as they are healing to recognize that they are co-creators in their reality. Life is not happening to you. And when you stop living from the outside in and start living from the inside out, that's when things change. It's not about letting your circumstances affect how you feel and how you act, but choosing how you want to feel, having resources to help you when you need to raise your vibration, when you want to feel better, knowing what your tools are and utilizing them so you can bring that out into the world. And that's what really creates change, is just you have to make a decision, you have to take the action. The universe is not going to set everything up perfectly for you to take care of yourself. The timing is never going to be right. Things are not just going to align. You have to make that decision and work it the best way that you can. And I also think that, as you're healing, you have to remember that as an individual, you have needs. So you might be a mom, you might be a business owner, you might be an employee, you might be a spouse, but you are an individual, and that has to be nurtured because that affects everything else that you are. So that has to have some time, that has to have some care. And you want your kids to learn that prioritizing yourself is important. You want your kids to grow up as adults who take care of themselves. And they are only going to learn to do that if they see you doing it. So it's really taking care of yourself as an individual so you can thrive in all your other roles, not ignoring yourself as an individual, because if you are doing that, you're not putting your best effort or your best energy into what you're doing anyway. People will get more from you if there's more, if you can give more of yourself.
Yes, for sure. Let me take a minute now for you guys, and I'm going to read just a tiny bit, maybe just a paragraph or so of the introduction to this beautiful book that you all contributed to. And the introduction was written by Anna Pereira, the founder of the Wellness Universe. And we're putting this first book together with all of these 25 amazing experts sharing their tools about stress relief. So here's just a piece of it. We believe in a mind, body, spirit approach to well-being. The Wellness Universe was created to bring together people around the world who make the world a better place through their support of health, wellness, and well-being for mind, body, spirit, and planet. Complete self-care cannot be achieved unless we nourish all of our parts. Within this guide, I want to share with you 25 of our top resources from the Wellness Universe to help you manage, reduce, and relieve stress. So that's just a little piece of that. And it gives you an idea of what you're about to read in this amazing book. We're going to be launching on 11/11. How is that for you angel number lovers? We like that date. Okay, so Linda, I'm going to go back to you for this next question. And right now, wow, the stress relief topic could not be more timely. We all had it before the pandemic started. We had our own lives with stresses and anxieties going on, and then this happened, and it created some massive overwhelm for a lot of people. There are a lot of people who are really struggling. So what message would you have for somebody who might be losing hope right now?
I would say, please be your own best friend. Be very, very gentle with yourself. And when you're feeling vulnerable, don't let the fear be the one that gets a hold. And don't let that be what drives you, because you're much, much stronger than that. And sometimes the fear just comes along, and this great mask just completely overrides what you're really, really capable of coping with. And it feels like you're not able to manage. But if you can put your hand on your heart and really speak to your heart as if you are your closest friend, and say, I'm here for you, and I am not going to let fear be the one that drives us here. I and my heart, we are okay, and we are doing really, really well. Be proud of how you're coping, because you've got this far and it's been really, really tough. And we are needing to be there for ourselves. And I think for an awful lot of people who are finding themselves more alone than they ever would want to be, and at a really vulnerable time they're more alone than they ought to be, then we have to be our own best friend and really embrace that to nurture ourselves.
Yes, Linda, thank you. Beautiful. Melissa, how about you? Just talking to somebody who might be losing a little bit of hope right now about everything that's happening, just tipping over the edge of that overwhelm. What would your message be? Melissa, we can't hear you for some reason. I am not sure why. So it doesn't look like you're muted. I'm gonna go to Deborah for a minute and think about a headset, popping in a headset real quick if you have one. Okay. Deborah, I'm gonna let you answer that question while we figure out Melissa's audio. I'm not sure what happened.
Well, I think now, even though it feels like it's the darkest days, and some people are even thinking it's Armageddon, what I want them to know is that we are actually in an evolutionary stage. We are moving forward to the next level of humanity's evolution. And that's uncomfortable. That's stretching us from where we were. But the promise is that we're moving towards something that's far, far better than where we've been. So all of this evil and corruption needed to be exposed to the light so that it could be transformed and we can move forward. We're going to discard it all like garbage. It's going to be gone. We're going to step away from it. Maybe that means we're actually stepping into a new version of ourselves. Energetically, that's certainly true because our consciousness is raising. We're going to a higher frequency. In that higher frequency, we will have greater understanding, greater peace, and more love for one another, because we're going to step out of that conflict of all of this competition, bitterness, etc. It's going to be more about our soul journey and all together moving forward on our individual soul journeys as a collective. So it is promised, it is coming. We just have to hang in there.
I think that I have come back to just hang in there so many times over the last few months. Just hang in there. And honestly, to all of you, I'm just going to say thank you one more time, because I think that those who are stepping up to share in these ways, who are out loud with writing and speaking about how we do this, it's complicated. It's why we're here, really, to learn. And so thank you for being, part of that group of people who chose to be a trailblazer for it and really authentically share your stories. Melissa, let's see if you're there again.
Am I here?
Yay! Okay, so what would your message be? I'm so glad you're back.
I guess my message is that, as we're going through challenges, it's really important to be patient with yourself and have the knowledge that you really can only do the best that you can do. Nothing else is expected of you. And at the end of it, the challenge is really a temporary state. We go through ups and downs where things are easier and things are harder. And that's not always easy to think about when you're in the midst of a challenge, but you always come out of it having learned something and having developed a strength. And that's going to enable you to be such a stronger person at the end of it. And so if you can take a moment to think about, what is this teaching me? And try to turn that from, why is this happening to me? That can sometimes really empower you to just keep pushing and persisting, and knowing that your resilience and your persistence are going to be paid off.
Yes, I love that. I love remembering to ask myself, what here can I learn? What's the opportunity here? Even in the midst of something that seems really bad. Absolutely love that reminder. Thank you. So, Deborah, what do you practice for your own self-care? Talk about some of the other things that you do to take care of yourself.
Well, for me, it's a lot about meditation, getting out in nature, connecting with divine, because, my angels and guides are with me all the time. They're walking hand in hand. And all we have to do is reach out and allow them to help us. They're there for us all the time. So when we lean on them, and one time they came and they sang "A Choir of Angels, Lean on Me." It was so beautiful. And that's what they're asking us to do. Lean on me, because we're here for you. You don't have to carry the burden alone. Beyond that, it's work on you, and then allow your energy to positively impact those around you. That's really the core. Work on yourself. Allow others to change as they will, and then together we step forward into a better place.
Melissa, what are some of your self-care, like the routine that you fall back on when you want to really give yourself a little bit more juice?
Yeah, so I firmly believe in starting my day off with just really focusing on myself. So once the kids are up and they're okay with their breakfast and their dad, I usually go to the bedroom and I do some scripting work. So I've written some scripts on the person that I'm becoming. I listen to it every morning. I then will do a really brief meditation, and it's more for physical relaxation. I find that really gets me into a clear head. And then I'll do some auto-suggestion, writing out my goals. And I finish that off with, I do a card reading. So, which is very new. It's only been like 3 weeks that I intuitively decided to start doing that. I have aromatherapy going while I'm doing it. And the whole thing probably lasts 25 minutes. You can always do those individual things, and sometimes I'll just do one or do the other during my day. But that's really the practice that just gets me ready to take on the day and just really feeling centered and clear.
I've read a lot of the Miracle Morning books, and I love having my Miracle Morning, just starting my day off with, those kinds of things. It just sets you up for the whole rest of the day so beautifully. So, Linda, talk to us about your different things you like to do to nourish yourself.
Well, I start and end my day with relaxation, and I'll show you rather than tell you. Every morning, I pull a card. I've had this little box. My kids would remember this box with these cards in. They used to just sit on a bench, and as the children went through their teens, their friends used to come through the house, and every now and then I'd noticed that the cards had moved. I thought, oh, someone's been pulling a card. And today's card was play, which is, we can't see, but play, which is awesome. I mean, I will bring play into my life above anything. And basically, I'll have my day, and yes, I've got a diary, I've got things to do, but I like to say, I plan my day, but I let the angels edit it. And so I get up, I get ready, I do my thing. I work with bushflower essences, the Australian bushflower essences, and I draw a card for that in the morning, have my card for the day, and do a bit of a meditation on that. And then whatever, I go out of the door, And truly, I literally say, I wonder what will happen today. Who will I meet? Who am I meant to meet? Who's meant to meet me? And I will go out with a playful heart. And sometimes I'm feeling quite heavy. All my family are overseas and I miss them. You know, it's a natural thing to do. But even when I get that coming over me, the play element can be stronger than that. And that's very, very important to me. It's what keeps me going. It really is what keeps me going. You know, I think I'm a Peter Pan, and I want to stay that way.
It's so important. You know, where do we lose that along the way?
Never lose it.
I know, we can't lose it. And I think it's a really good message, and there will be people that need to hear that again, who may have lost touch. Oh my goodness. Y'all are so amazing. You have such gifts to give. Debbra Lupien, Linda Gillen, and Melissa Jurabek, thank you so much for what you're doing in the world and for being here to share it with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So you guys, I want to just remind you that the book is coming November 11th. The Wellness Universe is an incredible platform where all of these amazing authors are hanging out. So don't forget to check the show notes where you can find some links to where you can explore membership at the Wellness Universe, other benefits of being a member there. You can explore each of these authors' websites and take it just one more step. Go learn something else about who they are and what they do, and really reach out. I think that you are not in this alone. We have a lot of amazing love and support for you right here, staring at you. So take it a step, explore their worlds, and find something that resonates with you. And lastly today, I'll leave you guys with this. Your words will change the world when you're brave enough to share them. It's time to be brave, you guys. See you next time, authors.
Thank you.
Have a good one.